as the chaotic relationship between Aerys II and his eldest son, Prince Rhaegar, continued to fester, with the birth of Rhaegar's first child doing very little to bridge the divide. One man sat at the head of the small council table, steadying the realm for any turbulence the fiery nature of the blood of the dragon caused. We are, of course, talking about the King's Hand, Tywin Lannister, whom even with Aerys' attempts to make his job as hard as possible, was still one of the best hands the realm has ever seen, despite the efforts of the king. Grand Maester Pycelle, in his letters to the Citadel, wrote of Tywin the following: Lord Tywin looms as large as Casterly Rock, and no king has ever had a more diligent or capable hand and servant. While we must admit that given the context of events to come, the Grand Maester did of course hold a bias towards Tywin, even Tywin's harshest critics could hardly disagree with Pycelle's statement. With the tragic death of Lord Steffon Baratheon and his wife in the waters of Shipbreaker Bay, the only other man perhaps capable of taking Tywin's responsibilities of hand, Lord Tywin now found his place at court even more secure than it was before. Hence why Steffon's death only fueled Aerys' suspicions of Tywin further. Tywin even became so confident that in 278 AC he decided to bring his beautiful young daughter Cersei to court. It was believed by many at the time that this was to try and find a worthy match for his 12-year-old daughter, but every match that was proposed to Tywin was swiftly rejected. It is believed, despite the marriage of Prince Rhaegar to Elia Martell, that Tywin still hoped for a Targaryen match and had eyes set on the king's second son, Prince Viserys, whom would have been 2 years of age at the time. Therefore, it has been speculated that Tywin foresaw, given how frail Elia was known to be, that she may sadly have died in childbirth, and thus Rhaegar need a new wife. Even as a young girl, Cersei was said to be strikingly beautiful, and an image of her mother, with the golden hair and emerald green eyes of House Lannister. She and her twin brother Jaime were said to look so alike as children that not even Tywin could tell the two apart. But as the pair matured, this likeness slowly lessened. Those who knew her from these early days at court have noted that even then, Cersei was politically astute and disliked being excluded from things due to her gender, and resented the customs and conventions placed on her as a result. There are some who might have gone as far to have said that Cersei was the female version of her Lord Father, something that became apparent as the young girl began to attend court events, as court life did suit her well, and that she had developed a fondness for Arbor Gold, often served at feasts. Even at the age of 12, Cersei's deep-rooted hatred for her younger brother Tyrion Lannister was well known, as she blamed the malformed babe for her mother's untimely death. There is one tale that suggests that shortly after her mother's death, and while still in mourning, the Princess of Dawn arrived at Casterly Rock with her 2 youngest children, the future bride of Rhaegar, Elia, and her brother, Oberyn Martell. Despite the fact that her younger brother was kept well out of sight during the visit, Cersei promised to show him to the Martell children. It is said that she sent the babe's wet nurse away, then undid Tyrion's swaddling cloths to better show his dwarfism. When Oberyn Martell seemed disappointed at the supposed monster, Cersei pointed out that he killed her mother and began to twist the babe's private parts while he screamed, only to be found and stopped by her brother Jaime. How much of this tale can be true is debated, but what we can say is even from this young age, Cersei Lannister was a woman not easily trifled with. The tension between King Aerys II and his hand came to a head in 281 AC with the death of the Kingsguard knight Harling Grandison, who passed away in his sleep. With that sudden and uneasy accord between hand and the king snapped once and for all when Aerys offered the white cloak to Tywin's eldest son and heir, said Jaime Lannister. At 15 years of age at the time, he was already a knight, an honour he'd received from the hand of the legendary Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning, whom even today many consider the realm's most chivalrous and greatest warrior. Jaime had won his knighthood during Sir Arthur's campaign against the outlaw band known as the Kingswood Brotherhood. It is said he saved the life of Lord Sumner Cratecore from an outlaw known as Big Belly Ben, and then crossed swords with the well-known psychotic Smiling Knight. He managed to fend off the knight in an extended exchange before Sir Arthur Dayne intervened and continued the fight. The duel was long and paused when the Smiling Knight's sword was notched, with the ever-honourable Arthur allowing him to take up a new blade. It is said that the Smiling Knight told Dane that it was his famous sword Dawn he truly desired, with this fallen knight slain by that very blade moments later. For his valour, Sir Arthur knighted young Jaime, and no man present could doubt his skill at arms. For many lords, it would be seen as an honour if their son was chosen to join the White Cloaks, but that was not the case with Tywin Lannister. Jaime was his heir, and with Jaime carried the hopes and future of House Lannister. This issue was even more prominent, given Tywin's second son was a malformed dwarf. To make matters worse, at the time, Tywin had been on the verge of agreeing an advantageous marriage pact for Jaime to marry the younger daughter of Lord Hoster Tully, Lysa. Thus, with the timing of Aerys' decree to name Jaime to the Kingsguard was damaging for Tywin on multiple levels. In a single stroke, King Aerys had deprived Lord Tywin of his chosen heir and made him look a fool for all the lords of the realm. The court records of Grandmaster Pycelle tell us that when Aerys announced Sir Jaime's appointment from atop the Iron Throne, Lord Tywin went to one knee and thanked the king for the great honour shown to him and his house. Then, pleading illness, Lord Tywin asked to take his leave of King's Landing and retire as Hand of the King. King Aerys was all too pleased to oblige him, and thus Lord Tywin surrendered his chain of office and retired from court with immediate effect, returning to his seat of Casterly Rock with his daughter Cersei. Aerys replaced Tywin as Hand with Lord Owen Merryweather, an aged and amiable lickspittle and flatterer, famed for laughing loudest at the king's jests, no matter how poor or feeble they were. Henceforth, his grace told Pycelle, the realm would know for certainty that the man who wore the crown also ruled the Seven Kingdoms. Aerys Targaryen and Tywin Lannister had met as young boys, had fought and bled together in the War of the Ninepenny Kings, and had ruled the Seven Kingdoms together for close to 20 years. But in 281, this long partnership, which had proven so fruitful to the realm, came to a bitter end. Shortly thereafter, Lord Walter Went announced plans for a great tourney to be held at his seat of Harrenhal to celebrate his maiden daughter's name day. King Aerys II chose this event for the formal investiture of Sir Jaime Lannister as a Kingsguard Knight, thus setting in motion the events that would end the Mad King's reign and write an end to the long rule of House Targaryen in the Seven Kingdoms.